Hello and welcome to another episode of ommmsome Life Design Podcast. This is a place where you can listen to inspiring stories from people who constantly push themselves out of their comfort zone and go into the growth mindset every day. And today I'm very curious to learn more about millionaire and trading mindset through Thomas Kralow, as he describes himself 7-year survivor of the financial markets. And there he is with how many screens behind you?
It's about 7, I believe.
Oh, so 7 years and 7 screens.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome to ommmsome Podcast, and I'm very grateful and excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And how have you been through a past months of this massive changes that have been, sweeping around the globe, and how has this time been for you?
Well, quite honestly, it does not really affect me that very much. I'm just basically sitting here at my trading station, and I'm just watching the world from here. Nothing has changed for me besides the fact that the markets are a lot crazier with all the down moves and then sudden paradoxical up moves. So I'm actually enjoying that, because the more volatility there is in the markets, the more movement, the more power, the more opportunities to make money.
That's what I usually hear from like high-level traders that never complain about these turmoils and everything. It's just like numbers. So who were you before trading? Like if you go, I guess then 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Who was that, Thomas?
It was a completely different person. I've never saw myself as somebody who'd be doing something out of the regular. Well, I grew up without a father and just with my mother, and she saw me as a lawyer, and I always aspired to become one. And I've lived in the States for a better part of my life, especially when I was younger. And that's where I went to college, and I was studying, well, it wasn't pre-law, it was criminal justice in the college. And I got enrolled at quite a young age. And I was supposed to get my bachelor's degree at the age of 19.
Wow.
And I was ready for the Ivy League law school. So I was studying for LSATs. I had a tutor, and a lot of things were going on. It was, almost like the American Pie kind of lifestyle that I had there. And I discussed this topic on YouTube as well. I discovered the simple business of speculation, buying and selling things in the States. So I was able to support my life there and sometimes even pay for my college tuition. And but at some point, I met a guy who is now one of my best friends, my mentor, who actually taught me all this business. And he's a lot older guy from Switzerland. And when we met, he said, Thomas, so what's your dream? What do you want to do? And I said, well, it's as simple as going to Harvard. And I actually studied at Harvard one semester. So I lived in Boston with some of my friends, and I got accepted to, it wasn't like full-time enrollment, it was part-time, but it was Harvard Law, and it was a crazy experience. And I really wanted to strive for Harvard Law School after I graduate with my bachelor's degree. And of course, I was working towards getting a US passport as well. And then this guy shows up in my life, and he says, well, being a lawyer is all great, but how about you give this job a chance? And I was always a curious person, a crazy guy that was always up for anything. And I saw the kind of money that he was throwing around constantly. So I thought that maybe it's true. So if I look at it from the perspective of somebody who is rational and who is a little bit more grown up, then I would probably not even think about it. But back then I said, okay, I gave up on my studies. I gave up on my naturalization process of getting a US passport, which I lost the chance to because I moved out of the United States. And I basically moved to Switzerland to study with this guy, to learn from him. And he is not one of those like I am, for example. I take money for education, but this guy, he has never taught anybody besides me. So when he saw me, he saw the opportunity, the potential in me as a human being, because I was always, if I do something, I do it 110%, or I don't do it at all. And that's why he offered this kind of opportunity. And I've taken it. And quite honestly, it was the biggest risk I've ever taken in my entire life. Because I barely met the guy and I barely knew him. I met him through a relative. One of the relatives knew him for half a year at the time. And she just said that, listen, how about you meet? His name is Alf. how about you meet Alf and talk to him and see what he's all about? And that's how it all started. And it's quite a crazy story.
How did you not think he's a scam or something? I mean, like when it comes to trading, I think the second word is like scam.
Right.
For people who don't know. And like your story is like, if an Alf came to me and was like, hey, Monta, do you want to trade? I'm like, which scam artist is this?
Well, I did not think about it as he could be a scammer. I was thinking maybe he's a serial killer, because as a scam artist, he wants money from you. This guy didn't want
right.
He didn't want anything besides my time. And he would take me out to London to stay at the most expensive hotels. We would fly in helicopters, and it was just insane. So I saw that this guy was filthy rich. Even though he looked quite poor, sometimes these super rich people, they look very simple. And he was one of those super simple looking guys, but he was and still is a lot richer than I am. And he's one of the richest guys that I am friends with. And so I wasn't worried about this being a scam. I was just worried, why would he want me to be his friend? And he really wanted this friendship, this communication. And then I realized the reason for it. He's just like myself. I might seem to be very serious about business, about trading, but the people who are in my inner circle, they know that I'm slightly different in terms of having fun. So I have the mentality of life is either a playground or nothing. So I'm not that very serious about life, I guess. I'm a bit cynical. And this guy, Alf, he's also a super cynical guy. So we could travel to Mallorca, stay at a very expensive villa, and watch Smurfs or some cartoons. It's crazy. If I would tell this story to some people, they look at me and they don't understand what's going on. And this Alf guy, he is trading more corporate. I'm doing more private kind of trading. And he is managing the amount of money that is above 1 billion euros. So he is quite a serious dude who is managing huge money, and he is watching cartoons with me. And this is the kind of thing that made me realize later on that this is how we connected. And when we would talk, we would have that black humor that most of the people would think that we are, bad people. But just for fun, and we are enjoying life. And he is, I guess he never had this connection. Plus, he never had a family per se. He was always into the business. So at this point, he's about 55 years old. And so he had never had a son and never had any kids. And he had a wife before, but that didn't work out because of the amount of work that he's doing. And so it was just, as I say, some people win the lottery by scratching off the numbers. I won the lottery by meeting this guy.
Wow, that's an amazing story. So did he inspire you to make the best trading system in the world that you have just launched?
No, this wasn't. He was actually against that because he was a little bit upset that I'm going to be sharing any of the information with other people. He is kind of a sacred, closed society type of guy. He believes in Illuminati. And so, and he wasn't very happy about it. He wanted me to continue this job, but the inspiration was drawn from my own feelings and my desire to actually start a family. Because this business, it might seem very simple, and it seems simple because of a lot of fake gurus who promise you that they will teach you some simple structures and patterns within the shortest amount of time, like 2 weeks, and you'll start making millions. Even until this day, there are days when I lose a lot of money. Then maybe I'll make some money, then I'll lose even more. There is nothing stable about trading. So that means that you're constantly zoned into this business. I might sometimes spend 12 to 18 hours per day at the trading screens. And it's a very stressful job. In my opinion, it's one of, maybe a taxi driver in New York is a little bit more stressed, but in general, I think that this is something that is not very well balanced for a family life. So if I want to get married, have kids, I just cannot keep sitting here for 18 hours a day.
How do you balance yourself at the moment when you do these 18-hour days, or, like when the markets are up and down and all, like just mentally? Because that's one of the, I teach meditation and I teach people the mindset, but I would not go in the markets. Like, no, I would lose all my teaching possibilities.
See, the simplest trick is the only way to deal with this. You cannot completely eliminate the stress. It's always there. And even after 7 years, I never know how the day is going to end. And this dark cloud of pressure is always above your head constantly. But there are a few tricks. Like it's quite funny, but I'm doing a lot of breathing exercises, and those are helping me a lot. And but the biggest thing comes, of course, from the mentality, from the approach. And as I'm teaching my students, there are two types of money. There is the money in your bank account that you can actually go and spend, and then there is money that is in your trading deposit. So that is something that shouldn't even exist in your mind as a resource to buy toys. So when I had this problem as well in the very beginning when I really was always a fan of Rolls-Royce. And I always saw that amount of money when I reached 100,000. I saw that as a quarter of a Rolls-Royce. And if you start losing a little bit of that money, you're not just losing the money, you're moving away from your dream, from that Rolls-Royce, for example, just as a broad example. And that is something that, of course, is adding on to the pressure. So when I'm trading, I don't care about money. It's
like because you don't attach the meaning to it, right?
Yeah, there is
you see the numbers.
Yeah, there is no meaning. And well, there are, of course, I'm still human. So if I'm having a really bad day, I might get really angry. And I've broken many keyboards in my life. And yeah, it's just a normal part of this job. But in general, there are many tricks, and it's a systematic work with yourself, because trading, it's not just about the charts and candles, it's about understanding your inner self. And trading has taught me so much about myself, it's crazy. Before trading and after trading, I actually know who I am. I know my weaknesses. I know the points when I should just give up on and do other things. So I understand my inner self completely now. So
tell me some more about that. Give me some examples of like situations where I learned this about myself, but only through trading, only because I did trading.
Sure. Well, one of the biggest things, I guess, is believing when you're trading and you're getting angry. A lot of times when you would tell some person that why you're so angry, and they might actually tell you, I'm not angry. But so it's oftentimes they are not even noticing that they're angry. And for me, I used to trade impulsively. And if I'm getting angry, for example, I'm having many losing trades in a row, and I would start doing some stupid things, but I wouldn't even notice it. So this is the psychological slippage, as I call it. So the anger is just clouding your judgment completely. And being able to control your judgment all the time is a big skill to learn. And this is something that I've realized that if I start losing a little bit of money, my judgment is gone. So, and 5 minutes ago, I was completely cool. But the problem is that at some point, I wasn't even noticing this problem. And this is the thing that, as I think Mark Twain said, that it's not what you know for sure that gets you in trouble. It's the stuff that you don't, what was it? It's not the stuff that you don't know, but it's the stuff that you think that you know for sure that just ain't so. Yeah, that was the quote. So, and when you think that you're completely cool and you're sitting there with huge eyes, red eyeballs, and you're sweating completely, but you think everything is fine and you actually believe it. It's almost like an addiction. And when and this is going through this process and surviving it actually teaches you to step back and look at yourself from the side. And it's a very small amount of people are able to do that. And it's just one of the things. It sounds a bit like a paradox, but yeah.
No, I think it's amazing because it's like, applying all the methods that people teach in self-help books, and like how to manage yourself, do this, do that, but you're like applying that in a high pressure, environment. What are the 3 lowest points in your life? Like probably those were, I'm guessing, the losses, like when you were like throwing away those keyboards.
Those are just situations. I wouldn't call them being the lowest points. When I was thinking about this before, I think that the absolute lowest point was the end of my education with my mentor. as I said before, when I lived in the States, I was doing some buying and selling stuff. So this is where my initial capital for trading came from. And once I got done with my education, and my mentor finally off said that, "Oh, listen, Thomas, you're about ready to start trading with money." And I made a big mistake of starting with pretty much all the money that I had. I started with $17,000 plus or minus, and it was a big mistake. But and that's where that lowest point came from. I started trading, and even after this education, after this super wealthy and guy spent so much time on me and has been such a great friend to me, and it's just I felt so attached to him. And plus I grew up without a father, and he did so many things for me within those 6 months than anybody in this life, in this world, and then my real father has ever done for me. And so I had this obligation that I must, make him proud. And I screwed it up completely. I lost almost all money. It's for when I think about these $17,000 right now, it's not that big of a deal for me. But back then, it
With
was
everything.
it was everything, and it wasn't just the money. It was this guy's time and the way that he just basically spent this super valuable time of his on me. And yeah, I almost broke down back then, and only actually thanks to him I was able to pull through, because he was my not just trading mentor but also like life mentor, and he taught me so many things. It's unbelievable. And that was probably the lowest point, when I was just realizing that I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I am doing everything in a completely wrong way, just because of a wrong psychology, and simply because I've started with too much money. And that's when I started losing quite a lot in the beginning. The revenge trading is kicking in, meaning that you're just trying to get the money back. It's just like in a casino, and it just goes down and down and down from there. And it was, yeah, so I lost 6 months of my time. I lost basically the chance of getting a US passport. I've basically given up on getting my studying for LSAT and going to Ivy League law school. I wasted 6 months of this guy's time. And yeah, it was just, I thought that the life had ended, and this was the bottom.
So how did you get out of that? Because that, like, someone would just go and hang himself.
Pretty much, yeah. But well, I'm the kind of guy that I guess I am just strong in some of these situations. I was crying and I was like a baby, but at some moment I just got myself together. I rehearsed all the rules once again. I went through this whole process, because when you're learning, you must be taking notes. And I had like 100 pages of notes when this guy was teaching me. So I went through this whole thing again. I demo traded for some time, I believe a few weeks. And then I had about 4,000 left in the trading deposit. And I just went back and started trading again and again. And it just slowly started working. And that's how I basically pulled out of it. But it was just huge luck.
Wow. It's like very classy, like the lowest with everything, not just like the money, what you could expect from trading, but everything in the life. And then and from that time, did it all go up with the trading and life, or has it been like
it's up and
and
down. It's constant up and down. This is what again adds to the incredible amount of stress, because the stuff that I've been doing, there are two types of trading. There is professional trading, and then there is day trading. Well, in my opinion, day trading can still be professional, but the main difference is that professional trading is what the institutions are doing. So this is long-term stuff, buying stocks, maybe some currencies, but holding them for longer periods of time. But for something like this, you would need at least $500,000 to start, because the annual return is very small. But again, the risk is a lot smaller and the stress levels are a lot lower, because you're doing your analysis and maybe you're just keeping an eye on your stock portfolio. But what I've been doing and how I made my money, most of it, it's hyperactive trading. So 18 hours a day, you're having like 50 trades per day. And it's constant, up and down, up and down. And yeah, it's not that fun at all.
I wonder what happens in your blood system with all the adrenaline.
I don't know. It's just probably not blood anymore. It's just something else.
Oh,
but I got used to it. But I guess I was fine with this lifestyle, but until I met the love of my life that we are planning a family with, and then I realized that probably it's time for me to do something else, and that's pretty much the reason why I'm slowly going into education, so I can still make some money. And again, online education is a multi-billion-dollar industry, so it's still possible to make a lot of money, if not more than trading, without any trading related stress. But so far, actually, it's a funny thing, but so far I had more stress than with trading.
oh, really? Because it's new? Do you think because of
Yes,
that?
everything is new. I have 21 people working for me, and I mean, I like people, and I especially like smart people and people with ambition. But oh man, it's just so many small details in marketing, in IT, in we need to use this application and that application, and it's just all new to me. I know how to use a few applications over there, but that's it. So everything was completely new. And
Mm.
then I just for fun, I can show you my this is the list of the things that I needed to do this week, and it's never ending, and I just do it
You
this
just
way.
add, yeah.
Yeah, this is just I like to do it this way because it's laying on my bigger table here where I'm
Yeah.
doing most of the work for the school and for the education, and then I'm just stapling them together all across the table so that I can always glance at what the hell I need to do more today.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's a
Um,
lot.
so why going into education, and maybe the importance of the financial education? I'm super passionate about education by working in education for 12 years,
Yeah.
and if you get me started on that, like I would totally burn down all the schools.
Well, yeah, education, if we are talking about the general education, I think it's quite useful anyway. Um, when I went to the university, I studied a lot of, well, my major was criminal justice and my minor was philosophy. I liked, Immanuel Kant and Hobbes and all those philosophers, the big ones. It just opens up your mind and you learn how to think out of the box. And even when I was studying criminal justice, I still had to take calculus. So I'm good with math. And all of these things, they develop you. But of course, if you're talking about making $1 million per year, then simple education is probably not going to cut it, unless you want to go to really fancy Ivy League school and then work even more than I'm working. Then maybe you'll have a chance to do it within the 20-year period. But if you want to make a lot of money before turning 30, you have to think out of the box.
And then for you, like bringing this as in with the education, what do you believe it's going to change?
Well, quite honestly, we did a huge research before I even started putting together my learning program, which took me about 12 months to put it together because we have like 150 lessons, 82 assignments, and 149 tests, and I had to put it all together myself. Couldn't really trust it to anybody else. And before I did all that, I had my marketing team that I've hired to do the research and to tell me about my competitors. So, and we've taken top, best, well, according to marketing. So they are the biggest in terms of sales. And I looked at the material that they are selling, and quite honestly, it's not bad, but it's pretty basic. And it's not really possible to make money with it. So what is going to change? Well, so far the reviews that I'm getting are only positive, and a lot of my students have taken at least one of those bigger courses from the super expensive guys, and they're saying that this is the most detailed program that they've ever taken. But in general, trading education, I believe that it's not possible to trade without it. As a small story, even before I met my mentor, I actually did try to learn it myself, and I did try to do some small investments, and I just failed miserably. And I thought that I know a lot, and I thought that this is a simple job of buying and selling, but actually pinpointing those spots where to buy and to sell, you have to understand that you are working against Wall Street. For you to make money, somebody's got to lose that money. Yeah. And if we are talking about the competition in the market, I mean, lawyers have less competition than traders within the market because we are inside the damn market. So it's a huge competition, and sometimes, you know, we take, as day traders, we take the slice of the money that some big guy the big guy is losing. For example, Goldman Sachs, they haven't had a losing year for like what, 20 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
try working against them. It's a competitive place to be, and people just need to use a little bit of logic. A lot of, again, it's just due to the marketing of those gurus who say that it's all just so simple when they're selling some courses for $30 to make $5,000 in the next 3 days. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think it's a big BS.
Well, it's a lot of fun for me to watch sometimes, since I'm interested in trading and I've been a trader for so many years. I am still researching different topics, and I'm looking at different ads, and Google knows that I'm interested, and that's why Google is always, and Facebook always is sending me those ads, and those ads are just unbelievable. It's just so much fun for me to watch.
It's fun, but there are so many people who fall for it. They're like, yeah,
Sure.
like I'm just gonna do it, and then, you know, they invest their whatever money, and it all goes, you know, just down, or and then they just say like, oh, trading is, you know, like bullshit.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's why so many. I started a TikTok channel just because my marketing
That's
guy
how I
said that.
found you.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw you and your girlfriend, you had some like really funny video, and I'm on TikTok because of Gary Vee, and I was like, this guy like seems, and I think I saw Riga, I was like, oh, interesting, and I'm like, he's a trader, sort of serious, sort of not, because he's on TikTok. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna reach out to him, but like Instagram is a more appropriate place where to reach out.
Well, you know, I love TikTok. I don't know. It's so
It's
much
super
fun for
fun.
me. Yeah. And but it surprises me until this day. I get so many negative comments even about trading, and it actually shows that it's actually a good thing from one standpoint, because people are finally learning that it's not that simple, and that people are getting scammed every day.
All the time.
Yeah,
All
one
the
of my
time.
students, he actually sent me his course that he bought for $1,000. It was about 6 videos, 6 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes each. So what are you gonna learn in 6 videos, which are like few minutes each, for $1,000? And of course, on that website, no refunds.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I offer 30-day refund. And so far I have about 100 students right now, plus minus, and I had just one refund request. So that, I mean, that's something.
Yeah. How would you say for someone who is starting, I know the learning is like, you know, it's different speed and everything, but approximately to actually get to your first normal trade, how much time would you have to invest? Because this is something that, you know, like against all those ads of like 4 days of course, and you're going to get, you know, like your first $1,000. Like, I
Yeah.
would really love to get your suggestion.
That really depends. For example, of course, first you need to get educated, and there are good learning programs besides my learning program. So normally this kind of more serious education should take around 4 months, and that's what my program takes to complete. But it again depends on your own speed and how many hours you're spending on this per day. So if you're spending 1 or 2 hours, then it's gonna take you 4 months to complete the learning program. If you're spending, like some of my students, which I always advise against, but some of them are spending 12 hours a day or 18 hours a day, and they say that, Thomas, sorry, I just cannot stop. So well, there's nothing I can do about it. So about 4 months, if you're doing it moderately, then 4 months
So
is your
like, don't
time for.
quit 4 months before you want to quit.
Yeah, and then the biggest part, of course, is practice. So a lot of trading gurus, what they are doing is they're giving you a course for free, and then you study it for a few days, and then you open a money account right away with some fraudulent broker. What means a fraudulent broker? When you lose that money, yeah, the broker keeps it. So your trades are not even going into the world, into the financial market.
Oh, I see.
So it's just a simulator with some numbers, but they just keep your money. And then this broker is gonna share that money with the guru who referred you to that broker. So this is just a scamming thing.
How can people like not fall for this one? How can you know what is real, what is not? Because that's another scam that's been going around. That's why I also reached out to you, because I was like, I want a podcast where people actually get educated and understand that you have to invest time, that nobody's gonna like, you're not gonna go up 10,000 in 3 days just because you sent your money through Bitcoin something, some Alex in Switzerland. And how can you know that, okay, this is real, this is like alleged stuff?
Well, number one, you should see that there is at least money back guarantee. Number two, you have to see that the program cannot be, it has to be at least 3 to 4 months. It cannot be a few weeks. And then you have to ask if they are going to ask you to open a money account. If they say that yes, well, you will be able to start trading right away, gone. This is
Really?
Yeah, my students, they will be demo trading until they show results.
Okay.
So after they complete the program, there is, depending on the package that you get in my learning platform, there is a window for personal trading algorithm development. That's where we are discussing all the ins and outs of that person, how he wants to be trading. So it's my program. It is very flexible. So it's not just one structure, one simple pattern. Is just the general understanding of the market and being able to see those opportunities. So then we are developing that way of trading for that student. And then this student must take this algorithm, go apply it for at least 1 to 2 months, and record proper trading statistics. And once she can see that, okay, I'm making this amount of money on these days. I've lost money last month. And so when you can actually see your real numbers, then only then you might think about starting with 1,000, maybe 2 at the most. Never start with a lot of money. Never start with money right away. Paper trade it. But people are lazy and they want to make $1 million tomorrow. And it's just unavoidable. Even my program, if somebody completes it, does it mean that he can go into the market and trade like me? No. You have to practice it. You have to understand it. It's difficult. Even for me, there is nothing simple in the market. And the expectations. I guess the biggest thing is the correct expectations. And the biggest one is 99% of those gurus, they will ask you to open a money account so that they can
that's a super valuable information.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And if anybody asks you to wire them anything, for example, myself, if somebody would ever offer me €1 million to trade with their money, so they're ready to give me €1 million, I would reject it. I don't want the responsibility of anybody's money. Exactly. I've thought about it before, and we did try one of those kind of, hedge fund kind of things. But my mentor, that's his business pretty much. And he said that, Thomas, you don't want to deal with it. Because people are constantly calling you and giving you investment advice on how to invest their own money that they have given you to invest. So it's one of the, and it's
backseat driver.
Yeah. And now it's, and of course, it's even more psychological pressure when you're responsible for somebody's money. And I'm quite a responsible person, and I don't want to be, in that realm of risking something that doesn't belong to me. If I'm losing $1 million tomorrow, so be it. But if I lose somebody else $1 million, I'm not going to forgive myself. So, and when somebody is asking you to invest in his super incredible trading strategy, whatever, some money, and is actually even ready to meet you in person to take your €500, come on, common sense. Where is it? Non-existent?
Yeah, somewhere in the fairy tale world.
Yeah, a lot of people actually wrote to me, and I have a lot of wealthy friends who wanted to invest into my trading. But number one, I do not have the qualifications of, so I'm not legally allowed to manage anybody's money. So if you're a private retail trader, which I am, then I can do whatever I want with my own money. But if I want to take even €5 from you, I would need to be certified.
Mm,
Now, but that certification does not mean that you know how to trade. That
yeah.
certification only means that you've traveled to Frankfurt, to Eurex, uh, did a test, and that test is basically about some financial laws and stuff like that. So it's not exactly, it's got nothing to do with trading.
Wow, this is super, super valuable because I have two friends who get super scammed by this. Someone's calling, telling you that you can invest, it's going to be big money. Yeah, 3 days later, you've lost, like you've taken a loan, transferred, you lost all your money. And it's
True.
just ridiculous what's going on. And this is, I think, especially because you're saying, you know, like 4 months studying, that's what I always say. It's like, it's stock market. What do you think those people are like 1 day traders? Like they invest their lifetime to be there, to understand those screens, and you think like 3 days? Like,
Yeah.
please, come
Yeah.
on. What
And
would you
then,
say for you? Is it the discipline that's the strongest that keeps you going as well? Like, 'cause it's tough. Like,
yes, it is. You know, one of the rules that I'm using is a quite a simple one. It's called the three losses rule. So if I'm starting to trade on any given day and I lose, and I have three losing trades in a row, that's it. I stand up, I switch off my trading station, and I'm
mm,
gone. I'm not trading. And you know, when you've lost, for example, for me, three losing trades at the absolute minimum, that's about 3,000 euro. And
mm,
sometimes it's, even for me, it's difficult to stand up and walk away, because when you're walking away, you're accepting that loss. And a lot of
mm.
people will try to revenge trade, and they will try to get their money back, and they will, sometimes they lose their whole trading deposits in just one day. And
Wow.
that requires a lot of discipline. But there were some big losing days in my career that, when I actually disregarded this rule, and I thought that I am the smartest guy in the financial markets, and the markets punished me a lot for that. Markets punish those who have big egos. They punish these
Mm,
people very in a cruel way.
wow. How do you reflect and how do you appreciate or celebrate? Because that's also like I'm curious about. Do you do it because it's like it sounds like such a hard work? You know, there's a lot of stress, frustration. How do you celebrate? How do you appreciate what you've like gained and
It used to be buying toys,
mm,
and I'm a bit over that right now. I'm actually in the process of seeking myself currently. It used to be, surely, I mean, when you're working to make a lot of money, why do you do it? Because you want to buy, I don't know, a watch, a car, an apartment, maybe you want to travel in first class. And sure, that's what I did. But currently, I'm a bit bored with all of that, and I'm working towards something else. But so I couldn't tell you. I don't feel this achievement anymore.
mm-hmm.
So for me, an achievement is getting a comment from one of my students saying, "Thomas, thank you."
Mm.
This is something worth celebrating, and I'm celebrating deep down in my soul and in my heart, and this is something that makes me happy. But
It's like
money,
a contribution to the world or something like that.
yeah.
Mm.
But maybe also, I don't know. It might seem quite strange, but when you start, every younger person wants a lot of money, and they think that that money is gonna change their life, and the most importantly is gonna make them happy. And I always thought that as well. And I always thought that, for example, I don't know, let's take a Rolex, I don't know, an expensive watch, that when I'll be wearing that watch, I'll be super happy. Well, I had many of those watches for different amounts of money, and are you, it's not happiness, it's excitement. And that excitement,
Mm.
it
So good.
it fades away in 2 weeks, and then it's
Mm,
just a watch. And
mm,
buying a car, I mean, I've always wanted a Rolls Royce. I've driven one, I didn't like it, I bought the Bentley instead. I enjoy Bentley more because it's a bit sportier than Rolls Royce, but still is not a Mercedes. It's just a car for me. It was awesome the first 2 months, and then it's just a car. And then you start realizing, and then there is this kind of small depression, that the meaning in life that you thought it was, the money was the meaning of life, it's just comfort, sure. It's security, yes, but it's not happiness. Happiness is something else. And this is when I make, I don't know, some good number of euro or dollars per day, what do I feel? I feel nothing. I feel like, okay, I got more resources. I can invest in here, and maybe I can pay a bigger salary to my workers and stuff like that. So I don't view it as something awesome. And currently I'm working on one of other projects that I did not disclose very much yet, but I want to do more philanthropical work and help out kids and those children from orphanages, some really young ones and maybe with disabilities, and so make a small difference in the world and give back and see if that's gonna make me happy, because I'm not sure, and I don't believe in 100% true and pure altruism. Maybe there is some, but in my opinion, we always do as humans, we always do something for some reason. And sometimes we don't even realize it, but mostly, even when going to church and me giving a few euros to some old lady, did I do it because I wanted to help her? Or
no, you're just feeling good.
yes, feeling good and maybe buying some karma. But so I'm searching for myself. But one of the things that I can say is that money is not everything.
No, it's beautiful to hear that. And also, like, I can hear that through your posts, what you post on Instagram, because, you know, like when I was preparing, I was like, this is so, like, I love how you know, like you show your lifestyle, but then there's like a huge message. And for some other guy who is just, you know, like 18, wanting the big money, like you're saying, it's nice to actually read the message, because you know, like money versus time. Like, it's such a, tell me about this a little bit more, so people who know you listen to this, and maybe if they haven't read the post, because like you really appreciate time, because you're like, you can't buy time, right? You can always have money.
That's the biggest thing. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we must live our life in a way that if our time suddenly comes, we do not regret what we've done yesterday. And this is, it's quite difficult to live in this way, because it's most of the time it's living against the social standards and doing something that normally is forbidden or unacceptable, just like leaving school or going into some strange business like trading. But in general, yeah, it's money can be made, friends maybe can be found, but anything can be done. But time, I guess, it's just so invaluable. And that's why a lot of people want to meet me constantly. Every day somebody's writing, could we please meet up for a coffee? I want to ask questions. And it's not that I feel so important, but I have been isolated from the society for 7 years. And finally now I'm working towards having a lot more free time. So if I have some free time, I want to enjoy it with my inner circle. So my family, my own smaller family, and my older family, so to speak. And yes, people make a huge mistake thinking that money is everything. But one more thing that I wanted to say on this topic, I guess it's suitable, is that a lot of people make a huge mistake constantly saying that I will be happy when. I'll be happy when my boss will give me a raise. I'll be happy when I'll buy a newer car. I'll be happy when I blah, blah, whatever. And that's me actually about 2 years into my trading career. And I was always, even then I was making a lot of money, while my friends from school and from the university were still at the university, and I was making more money than a lawyer. Well, not maybe the best lawyer in the world, but I'm simple lawyer somewhere in New York. And the thing with that is money. We are wasting our time when we are chasing something that is unchaseable. So our human nature is very simple in the terms of it's never enough. And I always hear that, well, when I have 1 million, I'll have enough. Well, at some point I thought that when I have 100,000, it's going to be enough. And now the reason why I'm switching perspectives is because I realized that no money is enough for me ever. Because it's just our human nature. If you buy a yacht for 5 million, you'll be sitting there happy for 5 minutes. And then you'll be looking at the guy who just came by in a $50 million yacht. It's just so it's just normal. It's, you know, I'm maybe sitting in my Bentley, you know, at the intersection and seeing a Rolls Royce, and I'm like, damn it, it looks better. You know, it's normal. And that's why we are wasting our time if we are unhappy because of where we are. And when you're just chasing your dream, you're working for 20 years and you're just basically running like you're in that rat race, you're wasting your time. I started actually enjoying life when I've learned to be happy where I am. And it's difficult to be happy with nothing. I understand that. But once you actually learn to enjoy the small things, and me, before about maybe 5 years ago, if somebody would tell me, please just enjoy a cup of coffee or enjoy a sunshine, I'd be just swearing at them because I hated this kind of a thing. But now I can afford a lot of things, but I still enjoy a simple walk in the city or a simple drive or going to the gym and maybe having a very nice conversation. I enjoy these kinds of things. And a lot of times when my friends come by, I completely remove my schedule. So I call my assistant and it's completely cleared because I don't want to be doing business when I can be doing something for my inner self. And the same
That's
thing with,
beautiful.
I was actually planning on 30 minutes for a chat with you, but I like to talk and sometimes I start talking so much that I actually lose my thoughts, as you realized. But for a really nice chat and getting my point across, I'm ready to, you know, move my schedule. So
Yeah. I
well,
was the same this week. I moved all podcasts and I was like, no, like you're too serious. You're not going to reschedule. Cause like I had another course that came up and like, I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this? But I was like, no, this is going to be a valuable conversation. I have to do this. So I'm like super, super grateful for this and for your share and for everything. And I think what you're doing, it's so valuable. Like it's super, super valuable. And especially that you're so truthful and honest about all the information. It's
sure.
like,
And
mwah.
even my students, I always tell them, you know, people keep asking me, so do you guarantee that I'll be making money right away? I say no. And a lot of people actually drop off because of that. And if I would be one of those people saying that become a millionaire tomorrow, I'd make a lot of more money from selling my programs. But I would be setting them on a collision course, because when you have this mentality that I'll pay Thomas, I don't know, 500 euros and I'll look at his videos and I'll be a millionaire just from that. And of course, when you'll start trading, you'll be faced with the real market difficulties and you will not be able to overcome them just because of your expectations. So I'd rather have less students, but more prone to success than more students, but all losers.
Yeah. One last question, because I was super curious about this one.
Yep.
Paid versus free, because you had a post on that as well. And I do believe that you have to invest. I've been struggling with that because mindfulness and business is like, it sounds dirty for us, you know, like, oh, yoga, meditation, don't charge money. But
Yeah.
I've also noticed when people invest, it works. When they don't, it's just like, it's whatever.
Well, I can tell you, I have a few people who wrote to me, you know, with a long story of why their life is bad and what's bad in it. And I'm a human being.
The victim mode, the victim mode.
No kind of thing. Yes, this is bad, that is bad. And they were really, really polite and very, very, you know, likable, should I say. And they said, could you please give me a chance? And their words that they've written were truly, I believed them. So maybe they were lying to me, but I always treat it in a way that if they were lying, then the universe is going to get back at them. So I've actually given away a few programs for free. And
does it work?
it's a waste
In the
of time.
process.
It's a waste of time. Because most of these students, I'm actually, maybe they don't know it, but I actually have an ability to see how they're doing, where they are at, how many lessons have they watched, which homework have they done, what grades do they have, because I have a 4.0 GPA grading system, like in the States, like in any college or university. And I can see that each single one of them has given up. Just maybe they've gone through 20% of the program and they gave up, all of them. So when somebody's writing to me, please give me something for free, I'm just, well, sometimes I'm responding on Instagram, but mostly my assistant is doing that more and more because I don't have time for this, and even TikTok. But sometimes I'm responding to comments for fun myself. But yeah, it's just, I will never give anybody anything for free anymore. people, when somebody has been, I have a guy, he is from Argentina, and at the time we were selling the program, the cheapest one, for 300 euros, or no, I'm sorry, $300. And for somebody from Argentina, that's a lot of money.
Mm.
And this guy, he is 18 years old, and he was working. That money was his savings, and he was also actually asking it for free at some point, saying that the life is so difficult. But I said that he must buy it, and he actually bought it. So it was a big investment for him, and he is, at this point, he's doing really well, and at least in terms of the education, he is taking notes. I'm looking at his notes, and he's sending me pictures. This is the guy who's going to succeed. And why does he treat it so well? Because he risked something.
Exactly.
If I had nothing, for example, if I was already from a very rich family, and this guy was teaching me, and I would, in the very beginning, maybe I would have given up, because I thought, well, I have something to go back to. And when you have nothing to go back to, this is how life pushes you to achieve the 1% mark. And that's the thing, getting something for free, people don't treat it nicely. It's just our stupid human nature. I don't know. Even myself, when I get something for free, well, no, this is a lie. I actually treat things well anyway, because I know the value of those things. But it just is a majority of people. It's just, when you spend money, you treat it a lot more, well, you'll try to get the most out of it because you've spent money.
Exactly.
And the more money you've spent, the harder you're gonna work. So
yeah, how to find you online, and whoever is curious about the course and working with you, taking the course.
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube, Facebook, pretty much everywhere. And it's all everywhere Thomas Kralow, so I'm very easy to find.
I'll put it in the show notes, but yeah, those who are listening, then maybe. Thank you so much for the conversation. This is diamonds.
Well, thanks. Well, thank you for having me once again.